Lopez. We're on time, but Eric Lopez is on time. Not like the umpiring on the tonight. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, this is on the Sunday Linebacker Dog. I am Victor and ELo, and you can tell we are joined by national champion pitcher, UCF member of the softball staff, Shannon Saile. Shannon, first of all, good evening. Thank you for joining us. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? ELo was just texting me actually. And he
See,
said we'll be on in 10 minutes. But I was like, oh, okay.
no, we're on now, Mr. Lopez. But it is what it is. Hey, tell everybody. Hey, share the link. Tell everybody to come on through. We're gonna be live for the next hour and a half. We're gonna learn about Appendix G, ladies and gentlemen. So we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into Oklahoma taking care of business, playing in the 9th straight Women's College World Series semifinal versus Texas Tech tomorrow night. Which would Oklahoma or Tennessee, which team has the best chance to double up and get to the champ series? All that and much, much more coming up on tonight's show. But first, ladies and gentlemen, we have to remind all of you to go on to d1softball.com, use promo code WCWS 2025 to get 20% off your annual subscription. D1 team, Justin McLeod, Jenna Becerra, and the rest of the crew over in Oklahoma City. Paige Halstead as well. Make sure you go on to d1softball.com. Justin will have a recap, giving a full breakdown of what Appendix G is. Don't know what it is either, but check it out right now. Also, you can go on to d1softball.com and check out the bracket challenge, see how you're doing. Full disclosure, my bracket was blown up as bad as the New York Knicks defense trying to guard Therese Halliburton last night in Game 6. But you can find out how that's going. Go to bracket/challenge.d1softball.com for the full details about that. Of course, go to d1softball.com where you can access the transfer tracker, where you can get movement on players all across the country. Keeping up with the transfer portal just got easier. The D1 Softball Transfer Tracker gives you the ability to sort by class, position, school, and much more. Plus, individual player statistics are just one click away, so you can judge for yourself who the best transfers are. And of course, for you following baseball, go to our colleagues at d1baseball.com for all the information on that. And joining us, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the man who hates umpires more than anybody in the United States of America, Mr. Eric Lopez, gracing us with his presence. ELo, good evening to you, sir.
Good evening. Thankfully, though, we're going to start with the bright spot of the sport. My friend Shannon Saile, national champion, Oklahoma Sooner great, assistant coach for UCF, joining us here following Oklahoma's win over Oregon. She knows a lot of people on both sides of the dugouts there. How you doing, Shannon?
I'm doing good. Missed you in this first little 5 minutes, but I'm good. Missing UCF, missing you calling our games. So yeah.
Well, I miss you too. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, give me your thoughts. You just saw the Sooners walk away with the victory there. They start Kirsten Deal, but Sam Landry comes in and shuts the door there, pitches the majority of the game, and then Cindy Sanders with 2 home runs. Your thoughts here on the Sooners surviving here to get to Monday night?
Yeah, I think what you need to see here is Sydney Sanders getting hot. I mean, if she's hot in the lineup, that is completely changing the game for the Sooners. And then I like the decision to start Deal. You start and then you go end it with your best and you slam the door. I think Coach Gasso would go with any and all of her pitchers to start that game. I think she has that confidence in them. But doing the lefty-lefty matchup to start the first part of the game, I thought was a really good call. And then just letting your offense keep you in the game was really helpful for Sam to get comfortable there.
Talk about your 2021 team lost the first game of the World Series to JMU and had to come all the way from the losers bracket to win the national title. What is the mindset? And Coach Gasso even alluded to this yesterday, that she had to remind herself that some of these players haven't been in this situation before. She has to kind of remind herself of that. What is the approach there when you have your backs against your wall in Oklahoma City, knowing that every game could be your last?
At that point, it's all about what you did in the preseason, stamina and endurance wise of what you got left in the tank, and really you're just going off of vibes. You At that point, you are all burning fuels, and even the teams in the winners bracket, everyone feels the exhaustion of the season, and it's all about the mental toughness and your preseason approach in that point. So when we were in the losers bracket that year, you go in, you're like, okay, I got to play at least 2 games a day now. And that was before the new bracket. And tomorrow, they're setting out to play 2 games, like guaranteed 2 games. I think the biggest mistake Texas Tech could make is not starting Kennedy, but you don't know.
You're
I
talking
do
about the
agree.
first game. You're talking about like you would go right away with Kennedy in game 1 of that
Oh
tomorrow
yeah,
night.
I absolutely. I definitely do think they need to do that. Because then you're chancing it to a rubber match in the second game, and I think they should try to put it away game 1. I mean, this is looking from outside in, but Oklahoma, like, at that point, you're just going off of, this could be my last at bat, this could be my last pitch, this could be my last game, and you don't want it to end. So you just keep going for it.
Go ahead, Vic. What do you got for Shannon?
Well, I'm intrigued, Shannon, in terms of the offensive production for the Sooners. You mentioned Sid Sanders, her fourth and fifth home runs in Oklahoma City coming
Mhm.
tonight. How important has it been for Sanders to regain that form? Eric talked to Chris Plank, the radio voice of the Sooners, a couple of weeks ago,
Mm,
and he mentioned the importance of Sanders going into Oklahoma City. To see her back come alive tonight, how big will it be for her to keep that going against a Texas Tech offense the way it's been performing in Oklahoma City so far?
oh, that to me just completely changes the lineup. It's opening up so many different doors for the senior to really ignite her bat, because I remember in the 2023 World Series, her bat was on fire. So just having her be there, be comfortable, be a senior, be a leader, that's gonna help the rest of the youngsters in the lineup feel comfortable, I think.
So let's talk about this matchup. This was unique because it's obviously Coach Gasso against Missy Lombardi. They played last year in the regional, so it's nothing new, but they know each other so well. Lombardi was there for over 2 decades. Sydney Romero is part of Lombardi's staff, your former
Mhm,
teammate there. Sam Martyr, who's the also her and Romero work on the offense together. She was a volunteer, I believe, the year you were
mhm,
there. Talk about that familiarity and all those people knowing each other. That had to be this matchup make it more unique because
mhm,
everybody kind of knows them, maybe some of the tendencies a little bit. I mean, I think Oregon, this would be a compliment. I'm sure they do things like Oklahoma does for obvious
mhm,
reasons.
yeah. I think that matchup just shows you that the Oklahoma coaching tree goes really far, and just the respect and the mutual understanding of this is a game that, like, it should be played with respect and it should be played right. And I think they showed that tonight. And Coach Lombardi and Sam and Sid all come from that tree, and they all, like, that just shows you how deep this Sooner sisterhood it is. Coach Gasso saying, if it's not us winning, I hope it's them. I think that's just a huge, I think she would say the same thing about UCF. If we were there, I think she would say, I hope UCF wins if it's not us. Because I truthfully think the Sooner sisterhood runs that deep, and it is that that's special. And Sam was a volunteer in 21, and she was just, we called her a softball girl because she knew everything softball and always was willing to do anything to get us ready for the games, putting us in good positions to get hitters and just get people out. And then Sid, I mean, playing with Sid and then playing with her again in AU was a ton of fun. Just getting to know her actually a lot better at AU because we only had 1 year together at OU, but when we had that extra year at Athletes Unlimited and then being GAs together in 22, we really got to know each other, and she's super smart and really just probably, I can only see from outside looking in, probably makes those girls feel good and makes them feel like they can run through a brick wall.
Yeah, no doubt. I think both of them have done a
Yeah.
great jobs with those offenses. It would not shock me if down the road, if they want to, Romero or Martyr could be future head coaches. I think they're very good.
Oh, yeah, I can
Would
definitely see
you
that.
agree with that? Yeah, I mean, I think that's a no-brainer down the road there.
Mhm,
Yeah.
I want to ask you about Sam Landry. UCF played Oklahoma earlier this year, so you got to see
mhm,
them up close this year at Love's Field. What makes
mhm,
Sam Landry so tough? She's had her best year. Jen Roach, I'm sure, is a factor in that, which
mhm,
you know Jen very well. But what have you seen from Sam Landry? Because Coach Gasso decided to call her number early in
mhm,
this game. And
mhm.
how much do you think she can go tomorrow?
Yeah, because I mean, that's their ace, and she can not only change planes, she can change speed, and she can go to the east to west. So when you're able to change planes and speeds that way, you're really gonna keep really good hitters like Oregon off balance, and that's why they continually go to her because of her arsenal. It's so diverse and there's so many different pieces to it that can really upset a hitter's timing. So I think that's why they went to her so early, that righty-righty matchup, and then just like the changeup was really on tonight. So I think that's why they went to her so early and why they have continuously go to her and why she can go through lineups so many times. Like I wouldn't be surprised if she pitches let's let it get she pitches 14 innings tomorrow just because of her ability to throw to all sides of the plate and mix it up the way she does. Like some pitchers are just one way, they're all up. And then her ability to change quads is dominant. And that's why you're not seeing so many pitchers, maybe the World Series, yes, but in regionals and super regionals, you weren't seeing many pitchers staying in there that long. They had to rely on staffs, but the ace that you see is able to go east to west, north to south, and change that speed. So
So you definitely starts tomorrow, first game at minimum, right?
yeah, I can see her going both. Again, I can also see them starting Deal again and then working their way to, um, but I would go ace to ace right away because you're like it's lose or go home, and it's semifinals. So at this point, you got to show your best cards right away.
Well, and that's been a narrative of this
I
World
mean,
Series is the ace. It's been the narrative here. You look
Yeah.
at, obviously we talked a lot about Nyjah Kennedy, of course, has
Hmm.
been a big story for Texas Tech and why they're here. She's thrown every inning. Sam
Yeah.
Landry, the ace for Oklahoma. You look at Texas, Tegan Cavan with that incredible
Yes.
performance yesterday with her passing of her grandmother,
Hmm.
throwing a legendary game. And then you got
Yeah.
Carlin Pickens, who went the distance today. We would assume she's going to
Hmm.
be available tomorrow. We're seeing the Aces making a comeback after
Yeah.
a few years there, Shannon, where we thought, well, maybe it's
Hmm.
just going to be by committee from now on. But no, it seems like there's still a place for the ace of a pitcher there. What's been your thoughts on that?
Oh, it really excites me because I was watching the regionals and watching super regionals. You're like, oh, this is going to be the year of the staff. You're not seeing many aces get through lineups except, Ball, Canady, Pickens, Landry, just those really dominant ones. And then you've just seen, like, I think of UCLA, like the three-headed monster, but the aces in the circle have been, to me, the highlight of the World Series because they are able to get through these tough offenses more than 3 times. You're seeing girls go 9 innings. Pickens, I mean, Pickens has been fun to watch. So has Kennedy always. Like, I love watching her throw. So it's just seeing all these girls go through the lineups multiple times. You didn't think you would see that in regionals. Seeing the top seed go down, and they had a deep, deep staff. So the ace has been, to me, a mental mindset shift that's been really exciting, and it makes you think they've worked on their mental side of the game going into the World Series.
Go ahead, Vic.
Shannon, I'm with the Texas Tech Oklahoma aspect. I'm sure Oklahoma will likely be the visiting team tomorrow. How
Mhm.
important will it be for Nyjah to get a clean first 2 innings and not get that student crowd involved? Because you experienced it firsthand when Oklahoma jumps on you in that top of the
Yeah, that
that
momentum for
crowd
you.
involved, it puts all the
Mhm.
pressure on you as the home team to get those. Yeah, how do you handle that?
Yeah, as a Sooner, I can say it's pretty nice to have your home state and, like, right there while you're playing, and it is super important for those first 2 innings to be clean because you can kinda quiet the crowd down, you can kinda get your team in a good momentum, and you can kinda make your team settle in. So, I think that's what we've seen a lot in the World Series is a lot of really high scoring first 2 innings, and it's because 'cause they're not settled in their nerves. Gotta be able to settle in your nerves right away. 'Cause then the rest of the game, it's you're playing your best ball, but the first 2 innings, it wasn't your best ball. So, it is important for them to come up with 6 outs right away because then you're making your hitters feel better. You're making, honestly, Nyjah feel better in that point where she can just go on a roll. But um, I'd be interested to see how Landry does with her old coach Jerry and the
Mm.
other batter's box or the other coach's box. So that will be interesting, like how he prepares for them. It was funny listening to him in the supers, how he drove his equipment up there and how he was helping them prepare for the pitchers they were going to face. So I'm
Yeah,
curious
the
how they're
hitting
going to
cage.
prepare.
Yeah, it is
I'm curious
interesting.
how they're going to prepare.
It is
Yeah.
because he's been asked about Sam Landry really going back to the Big 12 tournament because the Oklahoma
hmm
media, you know very well, Shannon, they like to
hmm
ask a lot of OU related questions. I know it's a big shocker,
Yeah.
but he's been very complimentary of her. And you're right.
hmm
And now you have this storyline where
hmm
Oklahoma and Sam Landry against Jerry Glasgow. I mean, there's former teammates of her too that
hmm
probably she's faced at practice in the days at Louisiana, like Amaya
Mhm.
Davis and company.
Oh yeah.
What? So, I mean, that's going to be unique with all this familiarity on both sides from a roster standpoint. Makes it,
hmm
and then don't forget, Chloe Riaceto, who's the number 2 for Texas Tech, was the one that beat Oklahoma last year in the regular season with Louisiana.
hmm
So it's really set up to be something pretty special there.
hmm
What are you looking forward to in that matchup there that you think could be the difference?
I think it's going to be a pitcher's duel. I really do. I think it's going to be a low scoring game. And I'm excited to see how both defenses work. So that will be something I'm looking forward to. Um, there's not like obviously there's nothing like a good offense explosion, but I really do love defense and good pitching, and I think that's what we're gonna see tomorrow.
So now it's worth mentioning that UCF played Texas in the regionals, in the regional
Yes.
final. In fact, if Texas or Oklahoma or both, I mean, whatever, if one of them, at least one of them gets to the championship series, it would be the 5th season in a row that UCF has played somebody that's played for the national championship. That's a Coach Bear stat for you right there that I will
Mm,
relay to her on that. But you saw Texas
mhm,
up close there. What's your thoughts on them? We've seen a lot of them actually over the last 2
mhm,
years, going back to when they were a Big 12 series last year. But
mhm.
Tegan Kavan looks like has found herself here at this World Series. And of course, they still have a very talented lineup.
Yeah, they do have a very talented lineup. Their ability to drop a bunt in the 3-1 count, oh my gosh, drives me crazy. Like, they just lay down a perfect bunt. Their ability to bunt, power slap, they can run, they have explosive offense. I mean, there's probably 5 I don't have my scout sheet right in front of me, but at least 5 with double-digit home runs. So, that's a stat in its own that, opens your eyes a little bit where you're like, "Oh, gotta be a little bit careful." And then they have a deep pitching staff as well with Kavan as the leader, and she's a good leader for them, and she's only a sophomore. And to me, she's only heating up. Again, that's why she's able to stay in these games because she goes north, south, east, west, and has a good changeup. So for her, I thought her ability to change speeds the other day was really good. And that's ultimately, if you have a good change of speed, you're going to go a long way. Um, but Texas and their defense has sharpened up in the years that I've seen. So like, I think they're rolling. They have a good roll going on right now, and I expect to see them in the championship series.
Scott's been fantastic at third base defensively, leading
Mhm,
that way. You're right; they're much better, cleaner defensively this year than
mhm.
I think they even were a year ago.
Yeah.
A lot's going to be made about Pickett going 10 innings today in the
Mhm,
victory. You pitched. How much of that is the challenge more physical or mental or both from a pitcher standpoint when you threw a lot the day before and then
mhm.
whether you're available or not the next day?
Yeah, I think it takes a lot of understanding your body and going to your trainer and getting the rehab that you need to be able to go out there and throw. Honestly, it's all mental. You hear about these nagging injuries that these pitchers have, like the blisters. I've had the blisters, and I tell you, when you get out there, yeah, when you start warming up, you feel it, but when you get out there in the World Series, you don't feel a thing. So it's all mental, and it's all how deep can you go? How long can you stay in by being able to change speeds and not trying to change something that you did all year long. I think what got you there is why you're there. So don't try to change anything now, because when you do that, then you're now whole different pitcher that you have not prepared to be all season. So just be who you have been all season long. Don't try to do something showy because it's the World Series. Like, just do what's gotten you there.
One thing I'm intrigued to ask you, Shannon, in regards to is Texas lost to Tennessee in the regular season. How much would that play into their rematch tomorrow afternoon, especially Tennessee having to go as long as they did with UCLA earlier today, and then a quick turnaround to take on Texas and having to beat them twice to get to the Champ Series?
If I know Texas, like I think I do, I think they have a chip on their shoulder, and I think they're going to come out swinging. And I think it's going to look like a whole different Texas-Tennessee matchup that we have seen. Texas, to me, is getting on a little bit of a burner right now. Like, they're looking good, in my opinion. And I can see that game tomorrow being completely different than what we saw in regular season. I think first inning, we better be ready for some punches thrown. I know I know Tennessee talks about throwing the punch to kill, but I can see Texas throwing a punch to kill as well.
How much is experience important at this stage? I mean, you pitched in 19 and 21 at the World Series. Did you feel different going the second time? Because Mike White's talked about that. 16 players on this roster were on the team last year, and he's admitted they didn't have that experience and to handle that environment and playing Oklahoma in the Champ Series. Whereas this year, I feel like they're more of the veteran team. They know what it takes and grind out wins, and they seem more poised. Do you buy into that?
I 100%. I remember in 19, your first time going out there, that was my first time pitching in it, and you feel it. It doesn't you but then in 21, you can feel the experience, you know what to expect, if you look up, you're gonna see ton of people, and just to be able to slow down the moment a little bit easier in your second time through, it definitely the experience and all of that definitely comes into play. So, um I do think that them having 16 returners is really in their favor. So it is. It's definitely a key factor in winning a World Series. I believe it.
We got people in the
We actually
chat
got a
room.
question.
Yeah, go ahead, Vic. Go ahead and ask the question. People love you,
So,
Shannon. They love you.
Oh gosh.
They love you, Shannon. They barely stand us to Yahoo. So Mr.
Rightfully so. Rightfully so, in
Corporon
fairness.
is asking. Yes, they're asking you about your experience learning under the Jen Rocher tree. What makes her the respected pitching coach that she is?
Okay, so Coach Rocha, to me, has this really special ability to bring you in and show you why you are a good pitcher. I think a lot of the times pitchers get in their heads, like, you can't really tell when they're on the mound because they're shoving it and they look confident, but a lot of times pitchers overthink themselves, especially at Oklahoma because there's a lot of pressure to play there, and it comes from fans, it comes from the legacy and all of that. So sometimes it can feel like great pressure and then you just get in your head. And Coach Richard does a good job of helping you understand who you are as a pitcher and capitalizing on that and not trying to overthink yourself into learning a new pitch, learning a new windup that's not going to help you. I remember when I got there, I wanted to always like change things. And she's like, no, like, let's just stick with this, go with this. And then my senior year, we took away my backswing, and it was all trying to get people to stop picking me, and it really transformed me as a pitcher. I was throwing like 60, you remember Eric at Florida, I was throwing like 60, 61, and then my senior year at OU, I was throwing 70, and it's because our plyos, our strength program, and Coach Rocha really just doing I hope she doesn't take this offense, but doing the boring practices and doing the simple things and getting it right. It's not always exciting and fun, but it was just consistency. So always working on consistency and being just really our true own piece of the puzzle. I think a lot of times people can get cookie cutter, and she just made us fit into our piece of the puzzle that became the whole picture of a staff. I think that's what honestly your secret sauce is. She works with a staff really well.
How much of her did you apply? Have you applied to your coaching style? You've gotten a lot of compliments. Coach Bo Malone has told me that, that you got good feedback from the players as far as being in the bullpen and everything. How much of that Have you applied from Coach Rocha? And then you obviously have Coach Paul Malone, who's obviously one of the
Mhm.
best pitch callers in the sport as well, has proven it not just at UCF, but when she's been on the
Yeah.
U.S. national team. You're very fortunate here. You've get to work with two of the best in the sport when it comes to developing pitchers and calling pitches.
Oh, yeah. I think with Coach, Bob Malone, I've learned so many different things. I've just opened my eyes to softball. I feel like sometimes I looked at it very complicated, and she's really simplified my brain into thinking, "Oh, like, this is why did I even try to go down that rabbit hole? I didn't need to." And I think both of them I've taken from Coach Rocha's the plyo progression, and like going a little bit into new age stuff. I think sometimes people are afraid to go into new age things, and Rocha really approached new age softball data, softball, biomechanics. I think she's really done a good job of bringing that into her programs and not being afraid of it, and really um, educating herself on these things. So I've tried to implement that in my coaching as well. Not only educate myself, but the pitchers as well. So they understand why we're doing these things and they can see why this is going to make them better in the long run.
Make him in the long run, indeed. I want to ask you, I know you've had 35 wins this year, young team. This was your first year as a full-time assistant. You had been a GA prior to that. Describe it now. What's it been like for you there? Very successful year, another regional final, fifth straight in a year in a row for UCF to get there. Ran into a buzzsaw in Texas at the end. But again, a young team that had graduated 11 seniors, and still a heck of a year for this team. 35 wins, some magical wins there. What's kind of, you've had time to reflect it as a coach now?
Yeah, I think this team, we got a lot of questions at the beginning of the year of you lost 12 players. How are you guys going to be this year? And you know what? We didn't know. We knew we had a young team. We knew we had a bunch of dogs that were willing to go to battle for each other. So I think them learning through this year, you saw a lot of ups and downs with us. You saw us beat top ranked teams multiple times. You saw us lose to teams in Big 12s that, I mean, as a coach, you're like, we got to have this. And but at the end of the day, we really set out to host a regional, to host a super, to go to the World Series. And I think with this team, we have a lot of returners and we have a lot of good returners. And I'm very excited for the freshman class coming in. I think we're missing just a few pieces that are going to get us to the World Series in my mind. So, and those few pieces, everyone's looking for. So I think this team has what a lot of people don't, and that's grit and that's belief in each other. So, yeah, it was a good year. Being a 2 seed at Texas was different, something that maybe some people were expecting, some people weren't. I mean, usually we get sent to Gainesville or Tallahassee, but it was exciting, and it was the girls really looked comfortable, and I think, again, they're learning, so from this experience, they're gonna be ready for next year.
How shocked were you as you're watching that selection show? You're at Stephanie Best's house.
Mhm.
I was shocked. Vic could tell you more about that. But
We have a
what's your
reaction video,
reaction?
Shannon, of Eric's face, and it literally looked like he froze on screen for 10 seconds. He was just like,
Well, yeah, because
that was
Florida,
him.
because they announced the Florida one and then Florida State, and we didn't pop up on either
And we're
one. It was
like,
like, whoa.
"Are we going?" Like, I mean, I think we knew in our mind we were going no matter what, but same reaction. I remember Bear called and was like, "Yep, Kaysen is our prophet," and he's telling have you heard this story, ELo?
I have. You
Yep.
could go ahead and share it. Yeah, I've heard that story.
Coach Bear's son, Kaysen, was like, "Yeah, when are you guys gonna play the team from Austin?" And this was before we even knew where we were going, so that
Uh,
was insane.
I remember her texting me that, and I was in Oklahoma City, and I kind of like shrugged that off, like, all right, that's cute. Now, in retrospect, from now on, I will depend on him to help me with my
Yes.
bracketology and prognosis, because clearly he is much more on
Oh
top of
my
this stuff than I am.
I think he watches you, though, because more than I feel like you got 99.9% correct.
I got
Well, he
every
was,
team right.
Yeah.
I just didn't,
I don't
miss the
know
host.
how.
I missed the host. Yeah, what are you going to do?
Who did you have hosting?
I had Virginia Tech over Oregon.
Okay. Yeah,
So
I
I
could have
did
seen
have all
that too.
64. I did not expect that, but I thought that was kind of cool that UCF got to be flown out Because I thought it was a sign of respect, right? Like you're not just a team you're going
Mhm.
to be busing automatically.
Mhm.
You could go anywhere because you're a national brand in a national
Mhm.
program.
Yeah, I thought that was really huge for our program and huge for our girls. Getting the experience of being on the road and traveling and playing a tough team in a tough environment. Texas fans aren't easy, and it was hot, and we were playing a hot Michigan team that just came off of beating UCLA in the Big Tens. So it was a tough regional, and proud of them for making it to regional final. That's not the standard here. We want more, so you can see some more from the Knights next year.
What's your thoughts on this current World Series format? You mentioned it's different than when you were there. Do you
Mhm.
like it? Do you like the? You think? Would you wish you had gone
Yes.
back? You do like it?
Yes, I wish we had this, but also I don't know because at that point we all have blisters, we all have heat rashes, we're all trying to just make it through the days and win. And honestly, at that point, you're just doing everything and anything in your power to win, um, win every pitch, not just win the game, every pitch because momentum is so huge in this. One pitch, one call, and we didn't have review. I wish we had review because I don't think we lose game one if we had review.
Oh, now we're going to memory bank there.
Oh, come on, I'm a pitcher, I can't forget it.
Mm.
I
That's
can't
funny.
forget it.
What's your favorite memory?
Okay, obviously the 2021 World Series, winning that game, but, I think what set us up for it was my favorite memory is in Oklahoma State, we lost game 1 at their place, and then we
Sure.
came back and won the next 2. So, I think that was just it was a sign of what our season was like and what it was gonna be like. So, just a dogfight revenge tour that year.
Didn't you pitch like the super regional clincher in 21? I
Yes, against
okay.
Washington.
Right. That was the
Mhm,
one where Washington was all mad because they were the 16
mhm,
seed, and you
mhm,
pitched that game and won it, and you got
mhm.
to celebrate that to get there, part of that historical year.
Yeah, that was a super regional that we were even like, "What the heck? We're 1 seed and we get an angry Washington."
I
Yeah.
remember that Washington walked out. That was unique.
Yeah.
That was the COVID year. That was a good year.
Mhm.
Now, of course, Shannon and I have known each other way back through the days at FIU. I've liked you since, except for one year. There was one weekend I did not like you. Do you know which weekend that was?
No. What'd I
20
do?
the 2022 Supers. UCF
Oh,
played
yeah.
Oklahoma. Yeah.
Yep, you guys came out, and that was fun.
Yeah, for you.
Little little did we know that I was gonna be there, be a GA, how fun, how exciting, and how things just turn around. It's just
What's it? Right, and you faced Oklahoma now. You faced them 2 years in a row. You faced them
yes.
this year in Norman. You got to go to the new stadium. You faced them last
Mhm,
year when UCF hosted Oklahoma in a memorable series. What
mhm,
was that like getting to see Coach Gasso in person
mhm.
and facing her being on the opposite? Was it weird?
I mean, it's always a little, like, weird because we both know each other, and we both
Yeah,
know how each other operate a little bit, but it was just really a nice experience to see the new stadium. When we couldn't play that one day, they gave us a tour of the stadium, but all in all, we're both respectful to each other, and we just wanted to win, do everything in our power to win, and they were doing everything in their power to win. So the mutual respect, it was a good game in that sense. And
it's true. Your dad claims
mhm.
that she's more excited to see him than you. Is that? I don't think that's accurate.
That might be true. I remember in the World Series, she'd be like, "Hey, Shane, come over here real quick." How is it every time I look up into the stands, I can spot your dad?
It's true.
Oh.
It's all true. That's very good. All right, let us let you go on this. What do you look? You got Oklahoma, Texas Tech. You got
Mhm.
Tennessee, Texas. Give us a couple keys in both games that all those teams that you think could decide it, and we and at the end of Monday night we know who's playing for the national championship.
I think with Texas and Tennessee, you're going to see a lot of offense with both those teams, even with their aces. So I think if you get on either one early, that's going to decide the first game. Could go either way in my eyes. But Texas is really hot, and I think you're going to see a little bit of a different with the both of the true aces with OU and Texas Tech. You're going to see a lot of it's gonna be a low scoring game, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see extras tomorrow. So, I'm expecting both to go into the second game.
Both going if necessary.
I think
Oh,
both going to if necessary. I do. If I'm wrong, then oh
yeah.
well. But
I already
I
lost
do,
one of my picks, right? So you're good. You're
yeah.
fine.
I do think you're gonna see a lot of power, I think, in the first game, and then the second game, maybe not so much, but I could be wrong. I don't know. Just how the teams have been playing. I think I see some good pitching duels tomorrow.
Does the park play differently when it's an early game like 11 a.m. Central versus a game that's 6, 7 o'clock? Is there a difference?
Yeah, it's extremely hot. Uh,
Ah!
yeah, it's really hot, and you feel the sun beating down on you. I don't think Oklahoma, end of May, beginning of June is very, very hot in Oklahoma City. So, but I saw them wearing jackets and
It was
blankets the other night.
from talking to our staff at D1 over there. It's a little colder than normal, cooler than normal in Oklahoma City this time of year. It's really
Okay,
weird.
so maybe not. Maybe it's gonna be beautiful and breezy and nice,
Well,
but
you remember when we got there to UC? Well, you guys were already there, but when I got there to Oklahoma City for the Big 12 it was kind of cool. After rain, it rained on that Tuesday,
mm,
and it was kind of cooler. I'm like, I didn't bring a jacket. I wasn't prepared. I was stunned.
yeah, I we'll see, but I think both teams are gonna be tested tomorrow, and I think we're gonna see some if necessary games on both sides. So, mhm.
Woo, if necessary. All right, we got you on record for that. We got you on record
Okay,
for that. All right, we got you on
okay.
record. All right, Shannon, we're going to let you go. We've kept you on long. Thank you for reaching out because I know you love this time of year. It's good to
Mhm.
see you. I've missed you. We'll see you,
Good
each
to
other
see you.
soon. But thanks for offering your analysis. Enjoy the
Thank
rest of the
you.
World Series, and we'll be in touch. But thanks for coming on.
Yes, thank you. Thank you
Thanks,
so
Shannon.
much. All right. Go
Appreciate you.
Knights.
There
Come
you
on,
go. Charge
ELo.
on. Charge on. I got it ready. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm good. I'm feeling good. There it is,
Bye.
folks. Shannon Saile, UCF assistant coach, Oklahoma national champion, one of my favorite people.
Yes.
I have known her
Yes.
since her freshman year at FIU. I covered that regional. Vic, remember we
Mm-hmm.
covered that regional
You were
in
there.
Gainesville. We were there.
That
That's
was
back
one.
when.
That was one of the first regionals we. That was one of the first regionals we covered as a podcast of that game. It was FIU. It was a
Yeah,
young Kenny Gajewski Oklahoma State team in that
with
regional
Stacy
as well.
Pistrak, on the assistant at
Yes.
Oklahoma State, who's now the assistant at UCF, right?
Mm-hmm. Vanessa
And then,
Shippey as well. Who was
so yeah, man, time flies.
a lot of connections. A lot of
But
connections.
yeah, it's cool, man. I've seen her like develop, from FIU to Oklahoma. I remember I covered that
Yes, we've
story
seen
when
the
she
ever.
transferred out.
You've been up. Yes, we've kind of seen the evolution of Shannon Saile as a young freshman phenom to national champion, now to becoming a coach at UCF. And I think with her trajectory, it wouldn't surprise me in the next 2-3 years she gets an opportunity to become a head coach.
Few years. I want to keep her. Let's hold on. Not so fast.
I'm just saying. Hey, I'm just saying.
Let's
Hey,
give her a few years.
Coach Bear is developing a very. Hey, Coach Bear is developing a very solid coaching tree.
Yes, she is. She always does. She just does very
UCF.
well.
So, hey, just saying. Just saying.
She
No
doubt. All right, Vic. Let's talk about the OU from your perspective here now. Oklahoma beats Oregon. First of all, great year for Oregon. No shame there. Just they couldn't get anything going against Sam Landry. They couldn't get their speed game going against Oklahoma. Cindy Sanders with the 2 home runs, timely hitting. I thought so. Let's just go. Salute to Oregon on that. But now Oklahoma has their ultimate test to get back to the national championship series. They're going to have to get through the best pitcher in the country in Nyjah Kennedy, who's been locked in. Your thoughts now, Texas Tech, Oklahoma. It's a game that we've talked about what ifs throughout the year. Well, it's here now.
Yep. It's here. Yep. And I mean, a lot of people thought that it would be happening starting on Wednesday night, but here it is on Monday night to decide who's going to get Wednesday night. The pitching of Landry, as Shannon alluded to, was phenomenal. And this is going to be a night where the Oklahoma staff will all collectively have some part in to determining whether or not Oklahoma will go for that unprecedented 5th straight national championship. You're going to need Lowry. You're going to need Landry. You're going to need Deal. I think you need Monticelli to give you some quality innings. I wouldn't be surprised. There's going to be a whole staff that's going to go try and tame this Texas Tech offense. The intriguing thing, Shannon brought this up. She will pitch Nyjah in game one and try and get it out the way. And I think knowing Jerry the way he is, see the steal of home on Saturday night versus UCLA, I think the play of the World Series, he's going to go for the jugular. He's going to want to finish Oklahoma in that first game. He's not going to worry.
I agree with him on that.
If necessary. Go ahead.
I agree with him. Would you do the same? I would do the same.
Yeah. I'll worry about the if necessary, if it is necessary. I got Naija. Then this is and I saw a lot of people on the chat talking about the changing in the bracket. This is why the change in the bracket was necessary, because you want to give a full advantage to teams who stay on the winner's side of the bracket. You give them that extra day of rest. So now you have Naija fully rested, available, ready to go on a Monday night. And if you need a pitcher in game two, or you bring in, or you need to give her a little bit of relief and go to your bullpen, if you had to go to game two and bring Naija out of the bullpen, okay, it's fine. And I'm interested in how Oklahoma handles the situation. Do they go with Landry? Do they go with Lowry? Do you go with Monticelli? That would be interesting as well. How Oklahoma and Jen Rocha will approach that first game on tomorrow night versus Texas Tech, knowing that they're going to have to win too. They're going to have to double up.
I mean, you're going to have to use Landry eventually, so you might as well try to match her with Kennedy would be my bet. And listen, I could see them starting Deal and see Lowry. I think if Oklahoma, if their goal is going to be try to get it to the if necessary game and carry that momentum over, right? And then force Jerry to make a decision. Because at that, and this is where I think Texas Tech, Jerry and Tara Archibald are going to have to be interested here, because you got to manage the inning by inning here. Let's say, Vic, that Oklahoma's up 3-4 early.
You pull out one. You pull out. Put in Chloe Riassetto.
Right.
Let her eat some innings. Let Naija get some looks at Oklahoma, and then you approach things on game number 2.
Correct.
Now, if you're Oklahoma, if it's a close game, if you're starting, let's say you're starting Lowry, for example, and Lowry is matching Naija, and Oklahoma gets a lead late, then you put Landry in, you shut the door, then you foresee if necessary, and they have all arms on deck. You don't use Monticelli. You don't use Christian Deal. In that particular situation, you have all your arms ready, 1 time, 2 times max through the lineup, and you go by a committee if you get to the if necessary game.
Well, and I thought Shannon Saile made a great point. They started Deal because they wanted the lefty to face those Oregon lefty hitters. And I think that's something to keep in mind as well. Mm-hmm. I think you're going to see a lot of matchups by Oklahoma. That's how I could see them going. Whether it's the first, it might be both games, where I will not be surprised if they go by matchups. To your point, you may see a Monticelli in a one-on-one matchup versus a specific hitter. I definitely could see Deal facing some of the Texas Tech lefty hitters, right? Like a hitter like a Haley Toney, for example, who's been on fire for the Red Raiders. That might be the way how you offset all the innings and pitches that Landry has thrown. And listen, Texas Tech has to do a better job of situational hitting and not run themselves run themselves into outs. They've been a little sloppy at times with that. Now, in their defense, in one of the most gutsiest calls I've ever seen a head coach in the history of the World Series, to call that steal at home plate. Woo! Like, that is legendary stuff, especially if they go on to the Champ Series and everything like that. Does he stay that aggressive? Or do you run the risk, of running yourself into outs against Oklahoma and momentum? I'm fascinated by the chess match and all that, but Texas Tech's got to get some offense, man. Now, they did do a better job, I thought, swinging the bats late in the UCLA game, but they got to get off to better starts early in this game to give Naija some breathing room, because if you could jump on Oklahoma, like Naija with a lead, I'll take my chances if you're Texas Tech there. And I expect a lot of changeups from Naija Kennedy. That was effective against UCLA. Oklahoma has struggled against the changeup. We'll see how that matchup goes. But I can't wait. And it's going to get a primetime slot. It's going to be on ESPN because there's no hockey or basketball. The only competition is some of the regionals, game sevens in college baseball, and then like wrestling's on Netflix. So that's not even a direct competition anymore. It's just a platform thing. This is the biggest scene. Can Oklahoma pull it off, win twice, and get back to the Champ Series? Or does Nyjah get through a team that knocked her out 2 years ago when she was at Stanford as a freshman in the same spot? There's a lot of history here, and we mentioned it. Sam Landry against Jerry Glasgow. Who other than Jerry Glasgow knows Sam Landry better? I'm fascinated to see how he gets his offense approach against Sam Landry if he sees Landry. I think this is a juicy stuff here, Victor.
And of course, we've kind of mentioned it. Chloe Riasetto started at Louisiana when they snapped Oklahoma's long winning streak.
Right. She's got a confidence. She's beaten Oklahoma before, so it's going to be fun. Should be fun. Oklahoma, Texas Tech. Should be a great crowd. OU obviously will bring their fans, but Texas Tech, Vic, has brought their fans too. The Red Raider Nation's there.
Hey, see, Scarlett. Scarlett and told us Red Raider Nation has shown up and shown out in Oklahoma City, looking to become the first team, Eric, to win the Women's College World Series in their debut appearance since Oklahoma 25 years ago.
Yeah, seeing Scarlett covering the World Series. I guarantee you she'll ask better questions than most of the Oklahoma media will in the postgame. That's a lock. That's a guarantee. That's not even close. Well, I can't wait. I hope my appendix can handle that. I hope my appendix can handle that. Speaking of appendix, hey.
Oh boy. We've gone through the nice and fuzzies, ladies and gentlemen.
This was the favorite part of the show. It's all, it is what it is now. The other semifinal will be Tennessee versus Texas. That's a noon Eastern, by the way. People wonder, why are you not doing your regular podcast? Because it's a quick turnaround. That's why. Thanks to the new format schedule. Tennessee win regardless, whatever, one of the more bizarre games you're ever going to see. You had the infield fly rule in play in the first inning. People mad about a call at first base throw, whether runner interference or whatever, calling for safety bags, and then the home run where you don't have to touch home plate evidently to count. So, and all that, Tennessee finds a way to win in extra innings in 10 innings. Victor, your thoughts on the Vols finding a way to win to get back to the Final Four, knocking out UCLA in a game that had literally just about everything things you would not even have imagined.
One of the most bizarre games I've ever seen. Would it be nice, Eric, if we had someone who actually was there in Oklahoma City who saw what happened and can kind of give us a rational explanation of what happened? Wouldn't that be nice?
I mean, I'm all for it.
We do. Joining us from the D1 softball bunker, if you will, our good friend, Mr. Justin McLeod. It is 9:50 in Oklahoma City. Justin, good evening to you, sir.
Howdy.
All right, Justin. So Justin.
Here we go.
Go ahead and explain what happened in the seventh inning. What explanations have you gotten since? This has been a very hot topic. My phone has been blowing up for 5-6 hours from coaches around the sport and former coaches on both sides of a lot of this stuff. There's so many angles to this. But go ahead, give us your point of view on all that transpired. Oh, and he left. It was so. There he is. He's back. There you go. I don't know.
I left. Okay.
It's a good polo, by the way. It's a sweet polo.
Thank you. Love some good brand awareness.
What are we getting?
So let's see what happened. Well, Megan Grant hit a home run top of the seventh inning. I think everybody knows that. I like the way she put it in the post game. She kind of blacked out. Well, I thought that was a pretty fair assessment. I get it. Rounds the bases, gets to home plate, kind of leaps, kind of jumps, kind of steps, whatever you want to call it, misses the plate. Easy. Goes into her teammates, all this kind of stuff. One of her teammates grabs her arm, pulls her back. She touches the plate. Karen Weekly comes out of the Tennessee dugout, says, hey, she didn't touch the plate the first time through, et cetera, et cetera. Then we get a nice little, 15-minute delay. I honestly felt bad for John Baca, the umpire, because he was standing in the bald open sun, and literally even the Tennessee infield got to go get water by the end of it. And there's like a screenshot of Baca there, and there's like nobody behind him. It was kind of funny. Anyway, so umpire initiated review, goes to review. It's up in the review booth for that whole time. Comes back. She didn't touch the plate, but it's not reviewable. Now here's the so run counts, home run counts, no nullifications, 4-4. We go to 9 innings. Tennessee walks it off bottom of the ninth. That's the sequence of events. Then that's where it gets interesting, though. That's the whole controversy thing and all that. So, do you want me just to go into the depths of it, just without questions, or do you have questions?
Keep going. You're doing great.
So, yeah, thank you. And I haven't even had any Dr. Pepper. There's a few different pieces, and there's and I've already written, it's not published yet, but there's an 898 so far word column that I've completed that's going to come out with the explanation, rule based, and all that kind of stuff. So the two key pieces that ultimately it boils down to, the two key pieces in the sequence of events are Grant touching the plate for the second time, well, for the first time, but the second go around, and Karen Weekly coming out of the dugout to appeal it. Those are the two key pieces of the entire sequence. Grant did not touch the plate on the first time through. Baca even said that on the announcement when after the long delay. Grant did not touch the plate on the first time through. She came back. She touched it the second time around. After that is when Karen Weekly came out of the Tennessee dugout to appeal it. That order of events is the key to the whole thing. Because here's the kicker. Think about when we've seen missed home runs in the past, or think about it as if the runner was going to first base. If the ball comes in before the runner goes, like if the runner runs to first base and misses the bag, and the ball comes in, first baseman puts a glove on the ball, touches first base. Before the runner comes back to touch first base, then the runner's out, right? But if the runner runs past first base, comes back, touches first base, then the ball gets there, then the runner's safe. She made an error, made a mistake, but she got back before the ball did, right? It's the same thing. The timing of Tennessee's appeal for Grant to be called out had to be before she touched the plate. It's always been that way. Think about it. Think about how many times.
But wait, hold on. Let me defend her on this. Why would she appeal? Like, when do you want her to appeal it? As she's approaching home plate? Like, she has to wait till the plate. Like, watch the argument. And plus, wasn't by rule the fact she was helped by a teammate that was not on the field? That's not allowed either.
Well, not allowed. But in the rule book, the first violation of that rule is only a warning. The batter is not called out. That's written in the rule book. The first violation of that rule only results in the warning. Now, here's the thing. So I have the I see the comment section here. I'll try to make sure you guys try to make sure I get to everything there.
We will. Oh, don't worry. Oh, don't worry.
We will. So the thing is, when Grant does not touch the plate, she was with her teammates in the mob, whatever you want to call it, before she came back to touch the plate. So I use the example of first base, right? I use the example of the runner at first base. There is an additional thing because it's a dead ball. You don't have to have the ball. Karen Weekly could have come out of the dugout as soon as she saw Grant not touch the plate and said, hey, she didn't touch the plate. Thing is, she didn't come out until after she touched the plate because she saw her go back. She saw the teammate help and all that. Whether or not she touched the plate is reviewable. Whether or not she was assisted is not reviewable. That's the distinction that was not made in the announcement.
Which but this is the confusing part. The umpire said we were going to review, and it took 15 minutes, Justin. Did the umpires not know the rule? Clearly, they didn't know the rule. The broadcast didn't know that rule either.
No, I don't know that they didn't. I don't believe they didn't know the rule. I think nobody saw it. And
well, that's clear.
But that's why we have video replay. That's what replay is for, is to be the eye in the sky when somebody doesn't see something.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead.
Well, the pool said that he didn't see it. He didn't see the fact that she missed home.
It was not the plate umpire. It was the first base umpire.
So the first base umpire.
So on the rotation, the second base umpire chases on the home run. The third base umpire rotates to make sure the batter touches second. The plate umpire rotates to make sure the batter touches third. The first base umpire rotates to make sure she touches the plate. That's the rotation.
I mean, the replay showed there was no umpire in sight.
You could see her on the replay from directly behind the plate. You can see her in the background. She wasn't as close as they normally are. She's about 5 feet, but she could see. It's like she was in front of the pitching circle, like that angle. She wasn't right on top of it like they usually are, but she was there. But the thing is, because she wasn't so close, you couldn't see. Like she couldn't see whether did she jump over it or not. And that is what replay is for. Like that's the point of replay. But the kicker is Grant not touching the plate on the first go around was nullified when she did touch the plate the second time around.
Okay, so Justin, Eric, I do want to bring this up because I actually had a game that I broadcasted on the Division II side where a player had a similar celebration to Megan Grant, did not touch home plate at all. The coach went to the umpire, told him that they didn't touch home plate. The umpires conferred, and they called the runner who didn't touch home plate out.
Where was the runner at that point?
The runner had already gone over home plate and went back to the dugout.
There you go. That's why. At that point, it's abandoned. At that point, it's like in the double play in the same game today where the runner abandons the base. So that's what I say. The two key events are Grant touching the plate, the second go around, and the timing of the appeal. The fact that Grant touched it the second time around, very clearly touched it, that's the key event.
Yes.
Had she gone to the dugout, no, she would have been out no matter what. Like no need for replay. Had she gone to the dugout, no problem.
Well, that's what we saw in the infield fly rule in the first inning, where
correct.
The UCLA runner was called out of the double play.
Yes. Correct.
A lot of people, and I'm seeing this in the chat, and a lot of people in the text are not buying this stuff, in that everybody's been taught touch home plate, touch home plate, and you cannot get any help. Otherwise, you're nullified. That has been taught since Little League.
Mm-hmm.
And now the conspiracy, whether you like it, whether it's fair, whether it's right, whether it's wrong or not, is that they didn't want, and I tend to buy into this, they didn't want that game to end by the calling it out, and they found a loophole.
It's not a loophole. It's written in the rule book.
Nobody knew the rules. That's the first a lot of coaches have heard about it. Now, maybe the issue is the rule book itself is a problem.
Well, no, that specifically is written in the rule book. That's written in the printed rule book that I've had in my backpack for 2 years.
So how is the rules expert who's used on the broadcast didn't know about it?
I didn't.
Isn't that her job? Isn't that her job? That's her job.
I didn't listen to the broadcast. I don't know what she said.
She didn't know about. She didn't mention that. She said it was an out. That should have been ruled an out. And then they talked about. She used another phrase about a warning. It wasn't until like 10 minutes later where the word warning came about. But at no point did she use the words about the rule book.
Go back to there because the announcement in the stadium was ambiguous.
Sure.
There was a period of time where what was being reviewed or challenged or whatever word you want to use wasn't 100% known. I didn't know for sure what was being reviewed until it came back, and then an hour of discussions and chasing things down and all that kind of stuff later. So had it been her missing home plate, that is reviewable. But again, the timing of the appeal. She did miss home plate the first time around.
And then was assisted to touch it by a player that was not a part of the play.
But I just told you what's in the rule book. It's in the rule book. Like whoever hasn't read it doesn't really matter because it's there. Like I can quote you the page and line. It's there. If people haven't read it, that's their problem.
Who's reading? It's like 1-7 whatever. Like nobody. Like where are you finding that?
I mean, who read the last page of War and Peace? Doesn't mean the last page didn't have words on it.
No, here's the problem. This is
War and Peace, much less the last.
I keep saying this over and over again. I'll go back to when Mike Pedre was on this program 8 years ago. And he says that softball's problem is his own problem in that it complicates everything. It complicates everything. And I think that rule book complicates everything. Everybody.
It's supposed to be complicated.
But it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Simplify it. It's real simple. You clean it up. This doesn't happen in any other sport. No other sport this happens.
In the fact that it's got everything in it. It's simplified in the fact that it literally explains this. It literally has the exact explanation and the enforcement of the rule. That is simple.
Doesn't make it right.
I mean, it's in the rule book.
So basically, hey, it's okay, guys. You don't have to touch home plate. Why even bother running the bases? Who cares?
Well, okay.
Don't get that. I don't see how that makes any sense whatsoever.
Look, we're going to make excuses for these umpires who, by the way, haven't been good this World Series. Haven't been good again.
Oh, I don't know that I agree with that.
Really? You enjoyed the obstruction call in that UCLA Oregon game?
I'm not saying they've been great or have been perfect, but I don't know that I agree with that.
Where's the strike zone? Tell me.
For which game?
That's the problem. Every game it's a different strike. Why does it have to be different? Why? Nobody's ever given that answer. Why?
There's not a good answer for that. Every umpire sees it different. Now, is that right? Maybe, maybe not. I would love consistency. But I would rather have an umpire who calls consistently through the course of the game, through the course of game to game.
Be good. Yeah, it'd be nice.
And there have been some of those strike zones in this World Series. There have been some that haven't been consistent, but there have been some consistent strike zones. So, like, yeah, there have been issues, but I don't think it's not to the point where I think it's just been this cascade of errors here. There have been issues.
Not yet. Give it time. It's still got a few games.
But it does have a few more games.
I mean, this won't be the last time. They're going to screw something up, and then we'll defend it. We'll come up with an excuse.
Well, what do you mean we?
Well,
if the excuse is they enforce the rule the way it's written in the rule book, then yeah, I'll use that excuse every day of the week.
I would throw
it's in the rule book.
Throw half the rule book, burn it to the ground, simplify the sport. Otherwise, we're just going to keep running into these obnoxious, obscured rules that nobody. When people in the sport don't even know it, that's a problem. That's a problem.
It's not a problem for the sport. It's a problem for the people in the sport.
Why?
If you haven't read the rule book, you can't complain what you haven't read.
The umpire doesn't even know. That's the umpire's job is to know that rule book.
The umpire doesn't know what.
Sense.
You're telling me the umpire doesn't need to know every rule?
No, wait. What do you mean the umpire doesn't know the rule book?
Clearly, they didn't know the rule today. They did not know. I don't believe for a second that none of those home plate umpires knew about that rule at all.
Eric, let me ask you this question. Did you know about the rule before today?
No, I knew common sense. She stepped out of she didn't touch the plate. That's an out. I've seen it called where she's out. It's been taught. I've seen practices where coaches have said, make sure you touch home plate. Give her the space. Give her the space so she touches home plate so the umpire can see that clearly. Everybody knew it. Even UCLA knew it. If you looked at their dugout, they knew they were caught dead to rights, and they were praying. They were praying that they got something. And I guarantee you they knew it.
I'm just going to leave this quote from Karen Weekly up that she said after the game. Everybody but 4 people saw the play at the plate. We saw in the dugout she had missed the play. We saw her teammates kind of push her back. By rule, that should have been nullified. We went to the umpire and said, this is what happened. And then they did their thing. So, I mean, Karen Weekly has a point. She has a point. Yes, so this is what Karen Weekly said in her press conference after their win today.
Look,
everybody but 4 people saw the play at the plate. We saw
the second sentence.
We saw in the dugout she missed the play, and we saw her teammates had kind of pushed her back.
Okay, pause. That's the point. That sentence is the point. If you stop before the and, great. But you have the and.
So she should have appealed once she saw on jump.
We're nitpicking. That's what it is. No, it's a nitpick. That's what it is. It's a loophole nitpick. It is. We're nitpicking now. We basically want her to be Matt Michael and race to home and quickly call it like we did in the Arkansas LSU. That's what we want.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have problems.
Stop with the props.
If she missed the plate, and you saw
by the way, can we just say don't miss home plate and we don't have any of this issue? Okay, but we're defending her now. We're making excuses for not touching home plate.
But no. We're not talking. You're not talking about Megan Grant. Nobody in the world says that Megan Grant that she touched home plate the first time. Megan Grant didn't even say Megan Grant touched the plate the first time. When you see her not touch home plate, why don't you act on it? Period.
It was a second or 2 seconds you're talking about there.
It wasn't. It was a
sure it was.
time.
No.
If you don't see her touch home plate, you want to bring that to the attention
That
as
was a
quickly as you
good
can.
that was a good 5 to 7 seconds from when she missed home plate.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. When I have Coach Weekly on the pod next year, I'll let her know. Hey, can you hire Usain Bolt to be on your staff so she could that way they can appeal as quickly as possible? Because God forbid,
the reaction is when you see it, you want to point it out. Forget that that's what you need to do in the timing of it. You want to point it out.
I agree with Mark. Let's just from now on, we should just hire an assistant and have him as track and field go 100 meters because that's what we want now. And you know what? I'm all for it until we run into a situation where a coach is racing for an appeal and runs into somebody else and has a collision. And then we're going to say, oh, but this is kind of crazy. That's kind of stupid. This doesn't happen in either sport.
About?
That's what we're basically encouraging is you want people to race. Sure, it.
No, it's not.
So because she didn't respond in 5 seconds, she can't appeal.
It's simple. You've seen it 1,000 times. Okay, another example. We already used first base. A runner tags up at second base. Ball hit to the outfield, runner at second base. Runner tags up. Leaves early. What has to happen for that runner to be called out? What has to happen for the runner to be called out for leaving early on a tag up at second base?
For leaving, what are you talking about? Tagging early. What?
If a runner is at second base, the batter hits a fly ball to the outfield. The runner at second base tags up and goes to third, but leaves early from second base to third. What has to happen for that runner to be called out?
They have to make the appeal 2 seconds before the ball is put back in play.
Correct. They have to appeal it before it can be called. It's standard.
Okay, here's the thing, gentlemen. There's more than one thing can be true. Eric is right.
That's correct.
In terms of common sense needs to be prevalent more in college softball, which is severely lacking. That is true. Justin, your point is correct. Karen Weekly waited until after Megan Grant went back to touch home plate to make her appeal to the umpires. And the other thing that I need to understand, why the heck do we need 15 to 20 minutes to review a play that apparently isn't reviewable?
Well, by the way, full disclosure, Victor, we predicted something like this would happen at the World Series after the Arkansas-Florida game. Didn't we call this? We called it. Right a million miles. So don't give me this crap that the umpires are. I'm telling you, they're not good in this sport. And it's not all their fault. It is not their fault. But we predicted something like this would happen, and it did.
You want to know the scary part about this, Eric? I was trying to find the episode where we called this episode happening. Sure. And it was the episode right after WrestleMania. And I said, heaven forbid. You know what it was?
You did. I remember
after Oklahoma State and UCF with Ken Gajewski and his.
Oh, I was there. Yeah, I called that one. Yeah, that was crazy.
And I said, umpires, y'all better get it together because heaven forbid you have another situation like this.
Yes, we have umpires. We have umpires in the sport right now that cannot write numbers correctly down in a lineup card. Period.
I mean,
So, but nobody cares. No, we don't have the money for it. They work very hard. It's a tough job. So we're just gonna go ahead and pretend no discipline for them. Good Lord, we're just gonna give them a pass. Give them a break. Fine, we'll give them a break, and then we'll just. But then don't complain to me when we keep getting bad, controversial calls. That's all.
Oh, by the way, AJ, thank you very much for bringing this up in the chat. The pool report statement by the NCAA that, gentlemen, I happen to have available. So let us go ahead and check out that pool report statement, shall we? So this is from Vicky Van Kleck, the Secretary of Rules Editor, and Steve McCowan, National Coordinator of Softball Umpires. So let's see. Following the celebration of home plate, the umpires got together to determine whether the runner touched home plate. The umpires observed that the runner returned to touch home plate, but it wasn't assisted by a teammate. In an effort to get the call right, the umpires decided to initiate video review to help determine what occurred. But wait, I thought we just said that was not reviewable.
That's evidence right there. They have no idea about the rules.
We continue. The question, what made the play not reviewable? A runner being assisted on a base pass by a teammate is not on the list of reviewable plays in the NCAA softball rulebook. Appendix G of the NCAA softball rules book does not allow for the challenge of rule 12.17.3.4.1. That sounds like a freaking equation for pi. That states that no offensive team personnel other than the base coaches and base runners shall touch a runner until the runner contacts home plate. Question, what would the outcome have been if the play was reviewable? Because a home run is considered a dead ball.
Yep.
Per rule 12.17.3.4, on an initial offense, this is to Justin's point, a warning would have been issued to the offending team, and it would not have affected the score of the game. So again, as Mr. McLeod alluded to earlier in our conversation, it would have been just a warning. So again, yes, did Megan Grant miss home plate initially? Yes, she did. Did she touch home plate the second time? Yes, she did. But Eric, I know. Eric, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
No, I'm just going to read here. I'm going to read what somebody in the sport read to me. The problem with the umpires is instead of embracing coaches the way they see the game, they go after them. They snap on them. They don't listen at all. And it's the same at the top with rules coordinators and umpire coordinator. There's a friction there. Now we can argue. Listen, I'm not gonna defend the coaches because coaches sometimes the way they act too doesn't help. But there is clearly friction of communication there. Period. And I think that's where we led into this miscommunication on a lot of this stuff. Beyond just forgetting, I'm not even talking about just this situation. I'm talking about in general with the sport. There is no trust in the umpiring crew right now. And I had somebody that told me if softball was in Vegas and you had point spreads, they would take the game down because of suspicion of the game being fixed.
Oh, that's BS.
I'm just telling you, that's the perception, Justin.
Well, the perception is wrong.
But you know what they say? Perception is what, Vic?
Reality.
Sometimes it's more than reality. Again, I don't agree with it, but I'm just telling you, it is out there. The casual fan isn't going to come here and say, hey, I understand they read the rule book correctly. The casual fan is like, what kind of stupid stuff is this?
Well,
that's what it is.
Ain't stuff either.
But if that's what you're going back to, then you're assigning error completely incorrectly.
So who should report it correctly? Who should we be pointing at?
The rules committee.
Agree. Okay, good. All right, I'm good with that.
Do you know who makes up the rules committee?
The coaches.
Coaches.
Well,
coaches make up the rules committee.
So coaches have nothing. So coaches have no one but themselves to blame for putting the umpires in a position to not have clear and definitive rules to interpret.
The point is, there are rules that don't make sense. There are absolutely rules that don't make sense.
Yes. Okay. We can agree on that. Yes.
But the rule book gives an explanation for this exact thing that happened today. You can't say the rule book isn't simple when it literally gives the exact answer for what happened today. You can't say it's not simple when it's there. Like, the words are there. This happen. If this happens, then this is the enforcement. Period. Done. It's in the rule book.
Oh,
You can't say it's complicated if it's written in simple terms.
Look here, gentlemen. Y'all two can agree until
no. I want to point at you, Vic. No, this is Vic. You and others. Okay. Keep pushing.
Okay. Wait.
No, this is. Here's the thing.
Okay.
No, because you and other people in the sport keep pushing this second bag at first base. You want to know why I don't want that? I don't want more complication for the umpires. I don't trust that they can get it right with one bag at first base, let alone two. Okay, we have enough trouble with one. We don't need more complications. That's where I will defend the umpires. We complicate this crap too much.
Yeah.
Okay,
true.
we can agree on that.
The rule book is not complicated.
I would argue the rule book is a little complicated.
Okay, so we have people asking us to talk about the Sam Landry 5-second call that took place tonight in Oklahoma versus Oregon. Justin, could you give me more clarification on what the heck happened with that one?
Nope.
I mean, we could find a rule book, and maybe it's a kidney rule. I mean,
I'm not gonna lie. Didn't see it. I was downstairs typing a column. Didn't see it. I mean, I saw it. But I don't know what the.
Are we sure it wasn't the pitch clock?
No, I'm not. That's why I'm saying I didn't see it. Like,
I'm just asking. I'm trying to remember. I think I know what they're talking about.
I saw it happen, but like I wasn't like consciously paying attention to the step by step. So I don't know. It sounds like a pitch clock, but I don't know what it actually was.
That would be my guess.
That would be my guess.
Yeah. But I just find it interesting that we had no issues with the violation of the timing, but then after everything that happened with Tennessee and UCLA today, then we have this.
Well, if you notice, by the way, after that play, all the umpires were in real good position, keeping an eye on home plate, making sure everybody touched the base.
Oh, yeah.
They were really locked in at that point.
Well, and the one thing, too, like you, for those of you who didn't hear me say it earlier, the first base umpire was not in the right position. Like the camera,
that's what it was. Yes, she had her hands together for longer than 5 seconds. That's what it was. It was something to that extent. I do remember that now. Good call. Good memory on that.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
In Sam Landry's words in the presser, no one has ever called that.
Don't worry.
A lot of things have been called that have never been called today, folks.
I got to go back and watch the film tonight anyway, so I guess I'll pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Like the explanation of it or whatever. I mean, like I said, I saw it happening in front of me, but I didn't pay close enough attention to say it without watching the film first.
Let me ask you, actually, believe it or not, there were other calls that people were chatting about. The infield fly rule, which we've forgotten about. First inning. Your thoughts on that rule, on the ruling there and all that happened in the first inning? You were there in person.
I don't really have thoughts on it, to be honest. Like, I'm not going to lie. When it comes to rule stuff, I was centered on one thing tonight, and I really didn't ask any other questions or find other stuff out. I mean, that's why we consider and have a 30-minute debate on the one thing, because I spent all my time tonight on that and the rule book and everything else.
Very good. All right.
I mean, like explanation-wise, rule book-wise, all that kind of stuff.
How many letters we have in the rule book?
Too many.
How many letters?
Like how many pages are in this rule book? Yes.
How many appendixes like letters?
Yeah, I thought I only had one.
No.
Our reference 12.17.4.
Appendix I is accommodations for student athletes with disabilities. That's the last thing in the rule book.
Okay. So 9. So 9 sections of the rule book, and then
9
sections, subsections, and then a lot of stuff after that. So yeah.
And to your question of how many pages, if we're not counting the index in the back, 175.
Okay. But
Vic,
you thick enough for Mr. Eric Lopez.
Vic, from now on, I want you to have the rule book next to you every episode. We're going to read off the rule book.
I carry the rule book with me
Eric,
everywhere I go.
Eric, with some of the stuff you say, sometimes I want to take that rule book and smack you upside your head to give you some common sense. Maybe you could do that to some umpires.
Perfectly fair.
Thank you.
I'm okay with you. I give you permission to smack me around with the rule book.
Yes,
that's perfectly fine.
I
could use a Roman Reigns. I could use a Roman Reigns like summer, break or whatever we call it, whatever he does.
Sabbatical.
By the way, Tennessee won the game. Thankfully,
yes,
the right team won. The right team won the game. Thankfully, or this would be even uglier.
My goodness! Yes.
Because UCLA doesn't know the rule book about apparently the infield fly rule or the play at first base. But
now, I'll look. And if anything, Tennessee did the right thing in terms of throwing it over the third, because once the infield fly is in effect, the batter is automatically out and the runners run at their own leisure. So, hey, credit to Tennessee. They dropped the ball. Runner broke from second to third. They throw to third. They get the force out there. So, hey, they should have. That's what should have happened. Hey, Tennessee did what they had to do. So,
they found a way to win the game.
Yeah, AJ Grayson, for those who are inquiring about the infield fly rule, a fair fly ball that can be caught by an infielder with ordinary effort. I live with someone who's an Atlanta Brave fan. He has a different interpretation of the infield fly.
Let's not go to baseball out
there. Oh, the chat is spicy this evening.
Yes, I knew that was going to happen.
AJ Grayson, ordinary effort being at the umpire's discretion, so who knows what that means.
It's a fair point. So we got Tennessee, Texas. We got Oklahoma, Texas Tech. All right, let me ask you both of this. Which one has a better shot to win twice tomorrow and knock the other team, double them up, then get to the Champ Series?
That sounds like a poll question.
Between Oklahoma and Tennessee?
Yes.
Oh, Oklahoma, easy.
Vic?
Oklahoma. I think the fact that Pickens threw an extra 30-plus pitches after what she thought was going to be the end of the game could come back to hurt her against Texas, who's fresh and rested. And I think, and Justin, I want to ask you this as a follow-up. Does Mike White start Kavon in that first game tomorrow afternoon to try and get this out the way and get himself some rest for Wednesday? Or does he pitch Mac Miller?
Mac Morgan. For those.
Oh, Mac Morgan, excuse me. I'm sorry about Mac Miller.
I mean, I don't know what Mike White does. If it's me, I probably start Mac in the first game because I can afford to. Because the thing is, do I want Mac Morgan with no pressure or Mac Morgan with all the pressure? I'd rather have Kavon with all the pressure if it goes to a winner take all rather than Mac Morgan. That said, is Mike probably going to start Kavon in the first game? Yeah, I bet so. But if it's me, I start Mac Morgan, or maybe I start Sitlai. Whoever you want to be, I would start Kavon. Either hold Kavon for relief in the first game to finish it off if you're in the lead, or start her in the second game if you go to a winner take all. She's your best arm. If your season's on the line, you want Kavon in the circle, and you want a fresh Kavon in the circle. In my mind, maybe Kavon throws twice. Pickens will throw twice. What do I know?
Wow, Mr. Lopez.
No, I agree with both of you. I think it's Oklahoma. I think the question here is, does Jerry throw Nigel right off the bat? I would assume he does. But then the question has, what happens if you get forced to an if necessary game? Do you still throw
Nigel
her?
again?
There you go. Vic, your thoughts on that?
You can't afford to let Oklahoma build momentum.
I agree. No, I agree. I agree 100%.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, we brought this up with Shannon Saile earlier tonight. If Oklahoma is going to be the visiting team in the first game tomorrow night, Nyjah has to get through those first 2 innings clean. She cannot let Oklahoma jump on her early and get that crowd in it. Because, Justin, Eric, we've all been there when Oklahoma has been the visiting team and they put a couple of runs on the board in that first inning. That crowd is engaged and energized. They're already engaged and energized, but give them a 2-0 lead before they go on the field defensively for the bottom of the first. That's an entirely different animal. So Nyjah has to be clean in those first 2 innings to keep Texas Tech in striking.
Well, but Texas Tech's got to do a little better hitting. Like they've kind of been right, Justin. They my worry, and that's one of the other reasons I agree with both of you about Oklahoma's Texas Tech's offense hasn't been really jaw dropping. Like I mean, Tony's been fantastic, but and I'm not saying expect to score a lot of runs, but I'm just saying applying pressure, apply pressure like Oklahoma does. Give Nyjah some breathing room there. You're going to have to score some runs at some point tomorrow. You don't want to be in a situation where it's 0-0 in the 8th inning or the 7th inning or 1-0 game. They got to find some better hitting consistently, especially early in the game where you don't have to try to steal home plate to score a run. That's my concern from a Texas Tech standpoint. And for Oklahoma, they left a lot of runners on base against Texas in the loss, and even did early in this Oregon game. So I think that's something to watch with those two teams. And then Tennessee, do you think Pickens gets the ball right away, or do you think they start with Sage? You go with Majeko here.
I mean, it's a little different because I don't know about Pickens throwing 2 full games, but I think Pickens is going to have to, if they want to make it, Pickens is going to have to throw 2 full games. Like nothing against Sage Marjetko, but you try to get cute, it's not going to go well. Now, depending on how they view the matchup, maybe you start Marjetko, see how well she can do, but you take a real chance of Texas jumping early, and if they jump early, you're cooked. You're cooked. Now, my thing, I would start Pickens in the first game, ride her to try to win it, because if you can force a winner take all, you are on the same plane as Texas.
Yep.
In the first game, Texas has the advantage. They only have to win one. If you can force a second game, you're on the same plane.
Yep.
And you have the momentum from winning the first game, which does matter to some degree.
Especially if Texas
start Marjetko and see if she can go.
Especially if you beat Tegan Gavon in game 1. Because now you have to force Texas to go. Now you're Mike White. Do you pitch with Gavon in game 2? Do you go with Morgan in game 2? Well, if you're Tennessee, you got Marjetko, who's fresh. And if you need to bring Pickens in relief in the late innings to get you to the championship series, you got that option.
A Texas staff, by the way, that's been inconsistent.
Yeah, what should have been their strength has not been.
Right.
No, exactly.
So I agree with that. But I think that it's a united team. Should be interesting. I agree. I would throw Pickens to start. Give yourself a shot to extend a day on that. Real quick before we let you go here. Other teams that were eliminated. Obviously, UCLA eliminated today. Oregon eliminated today. Florida and Ole Miss were eliminated, 2 nights ago. Your thoughts on the 4 teams that were eliminated, either positive or negative, something that jumps out at you from the 4 teams that were eliminated? Just starting with you, Justin.
I mean, Florida clearly was disappointing. That's obvious. Looked pretty discombobulated here. That's also obvious. Kind of disappointed in what Florida did. I thought they really had the talent to make a run. Obviously, Rothrock's blister didn't help that, but they did look discombobulated. I mean, Ole Miss, they were Cinderella. They were Cinderella. Getting here was an achievement for them. Oregon, Oregon looked decent. Oregon looked solid. I really want to see – I understand they graduated a few players, but I really want to see that Oregon team play a tougher non-conference next year. I do think they're good enough. Their talent level is good enough, and I want to see them in some big games pretty consistently because you're not going to get that in your conference. So I'd love to see that Oregon team play a little bit of a tougher non-con next year, and get that in them, under them against some of the big teams early on in the year. And UCLA, I think tying for 5th place technically in the World Series, because there's 4 teams left. So I guess the 2 that were eliminated today would be tied for 5th. I think that's about where I expected this UCLA team to be. They were so wildly inconsistent for those couple of weeks there at the end of the season. And into the conference tournament. Then you go and you pull that off. You were inconsistent early against South Carolina. Then you pull it off. So it's I think tied for 5th in the World Series is probably about where I expected UCLA to be. And I think it's a pretty fair spot for them. The teams that finished ahead of them, I mean, Tennessee has Pickens, Texas Tech has Kennedy, and then you got Texas and Oklahoma. Like all together, I mean, Texas Tech may be a little bit of an exception, but all told with Kennedy, I can't really say anything about that. I feel like it's about where I expect UCLA to finish.
Well, especially given how UCLA had their moments in the season, but they sputtered against Northwestern, the Big Ten tournament stunner against Michigan. And we thought that in the Los Angeles regional that they kind of righted the ship, and then they get stunned in game 1 in South Carolina. Eric said it. They got outplayed in 13 innings in Columbia, and they needed that walk-off home run to force game 3, and they had the momentum that took them to the World Series. Ole Miss, a phenomenal coaching job at Jamie Traxel. What she was able to do with Binford and Brady, and to find that right magic at the right time to get them to Oklahoma City is just remarkable. So I think Ole Miss, they're going to lose a lot of talent, but they're going to be a very popular spot for some players to land in the portal. See how Ole Miss handles that. We shall see. Florida, probably the most disappointing of the 8 teams, given how close they were to playing for our national championship last year and all the talent returning back, for them to be 2-Q and how they got done to Tennessee getting run ruled. Not exactly a sour taste in the mouth for a lot of those seniors that'll be leaving that team. And in Oregon, a young team to make it this far, to finally break through for Missy Lombardi. Yeah, you're going to lose Shara sisters. But I really feel Oregon, the way they played, especially given that they didn't even go on, they almost came within one game and not even making it to Supers, having to double up on Stanford to win the regional. A very positive season for Oregon. But if we really think about it going into this season, we kind of figured 3 of the 4 teams, Oklahoma, Texas, Tennessee, would be in this spot. And we figure if Texas Tech can get everything together with Kennedy and Glasgow, that they could be a team that could be in this position that we are right now. And here we are going into semifinal Monday.
All right, Justin. Vic, any more questions for Vic just before we let him go? He's got a quick turnaround. He's got a morning game here.
No, Justin. Deep breaths. Wusa. Avoid the Dr. Pepper at all costs before you go to bed. And we will look forward to your article about Appendix G on D1softball.com later.
Did you ever think you'd be writing an article with the appendix as a headliner?
After spending a week in the hospital after losing mine, no.
So it's a full circle moment for you.
Unfortunately, yeah, it kind of is.
Fair. All right, very fair. Check out Justin. The whole cast at D1 Softball is in Oklahoma City covering it. There's articles, there's social media videos. We're going to have a World Series preview show, I know, at some point on Tuesday night. That'll be a lot of fun. Justin, thank you so much. Thank you for the information and letting us know what's going on. We'll talk soon. Thank you very much. That was about as lively as it gets. It's been a lively show.
You and Justin were going back and forth here.
You know me long enough, man. I mean, were you surprised? I mean,
no.
It's one thing after another, man. Appendix. We're talking appendix, Vic.
Not a liver, not a spleen, not the gluteus maximus. We're talking about
next year. All right. So next year when our broadcast and a rule comes up, do we look at our appendix and just see if there's something we find there?
Well, I'll have the rule book handy. Well, here's the thing. Remember, Eric, we talked to Madison Shipman on a previous episode, and she has the rule book handy because
she's a smart. Well, she's a lot smart. Yes. All right,
she
Vic.
was on the call with that Arkansas Florida debacle. So,
well, that's our off-season plan there. You get the rule book ready to go, Vic. You can read it. That was good. I loved the graphics and everything like that.
We're here for the people, Miss Lopez. We're here for the people. Yes, sir.
Let me just kind of a couple of we'll send in your last questions here. We're gonna read off some questions before we sign off.
Yes,
here in a few minutes. Good point that was made. Maya Davis hitless so far for Texas Tech in the World Series. That's going to have to change tomorrow, Victor.
Yes, they need her. If they want to beat Oklahoma and get to the Champ Series, Maya Davis has to show up. Has to show up.
Sean, by the way, I got to give credit to Sooner Sean Onikono, who on his stream was able to figure out the rule book in 5 minutes. We need to hire him to be at the World Series so he can find the rule quicker than 20 minutes. I'm giving him full credit. No,
we could.
Or do you want that job? Do you want which one? Should you want to hire him or you?
I'm having a plenty of fun and a time consuming getting the graphics and getting the sounders that you got aggravated at for a little bit, but you know it is what it is. He says, "Watch out when the appendix bursts with RuPaul's tomorrow."
Can't wait to see what body part we come up with rule-wise in the next game or two.
We will figure something out. We will figure something. You know what the funny thing is? Kevin Brown and Amanda Scarborough, Taylor McGregor were not on the call of that game. They've had every other wacky moment in this World Series, but that was the A team that had to deal with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, how would you evaluate this World Series? I know people are going to talk about the walk-offs, but there has been some wackiness. It's been a little bit of everything.
The steal of home is the steal of home is the number one play for me.
That's the play right now, the tournament to this point.
Thursday.
Right. That's the play of the tournament, the steal home.
Walk-off Thursday is the one.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree. Just the drama. By the way, back-to-back record-breaking sessions in Oklahoma City. Over 12,500 fans showing up for both sessions yesterday and today. I anticipate there will be another session record that will be broken tomorrow with the semifinal games. And by the way, if you go to our Inner Circle Twitter/X account, we have a poll up in the chat. Who doubles up to take two and go to the championship series? Is it Tennessee? Is it Oklahoma? Will both of them do it, or neither of them will do it? And as a 3% of the precincts reporting, we have 50% saying Oklahoma, 28% saying neither of them will double up. By the way, it is early. By the way, the poll will be up until 3-ish tomorrow afternoon. So yeah, vote on that poll at D1 at InCircleSB on Twitter/X. Who you think will double up and get to the championship series on?
Sooner fans want to know, Vic, are you still confident in the Sooners? I forgot, Sean. Can you? What was the term? It's not the Sooner chair. I forgot there was a term they described, the Sooner wagon or something, like I don't know. They like to use the Sooner wagon or something. Sean,
Schooner.
That's right.
Schooner.
They say you're right in the front chair there, somewhere in there. Are you still in there? Do you believe? Oh, here we go. Sean, are you watching?
I'm not wearing a mask tonight, but yes, as long as Oklahoma has 21 ounce, I'm still believing in the GOAT.
Can we get this where you go on Sean's stream if they advance like with that? Like I would, because I know Sean would have a lot of questions.
I have to be invited to the stream first. You've been on the stream more than me, so no, I'm not a wild. I'm not following the buzzards. By the way, for you wrestling fans, what Sean is referring to is that I'm a member of the Wyatt Six, so we don't want to lose all of you who are watching us right now. We may have to, Eric, what we're going to do in the offseason, we're going to explain some of these inside jokes and wrestling references that we keep making on this show.
I don't know, but you need to come on Sean's stream at some point and explain. Yes, with the
So Sean, I will make you a deal. If the Sooners somehow double up Texas Tech and they make it to the champ series, I will appear. If you're doing a watch along on Wednesday or Thursday,
come on, Sean, that's a good deal.
I will make a cameo appearance and give the origin story of why I decided to bust.
Wednesday actually would be good. I'm not available, Sean, on Wednesday night, so that might be a good deal for you, Sean. Just saying.
I'm just saying. The offer has been extended. So if Oklahoma does their part, I'll do my part.
Wow. What's your thoughts? What do you think we're going to see tomorrow?
Well,
Because I have no idea. I'm not going to pretend I know anymore. I
don't either.
I don't.
The way the World Series is going, we'll have to wait until Thursday then if that's the case. When Texas Tech wins, what Texas Tech wins? Will you see Scarlett and sing the Texas Tech fight song?
Here we go.
I will say, when I played NCAA football back in my days, I will love that Texas Tech. That da 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 da. I will. Yeah, bet. Done. So yes. So okay. So Eric,
look at this.
So Eric, here's what's happening. So here's what's gonna happen. Whichever school between Oklahoma and Texas Tech, whoever advances to the national championship series, I will be appearing on either Sooner Sean's live stream. Or I will be appearing.
But you have to bring the mask. You've got to bring the mask.
If it's Oklahoma, okay. Now, okay. If it's Oklahoma, yes. Now, so I don't know what Seeing Scarlett wants me to do if Texas Tech wins. Fight song, cool. I'll figure that out. I will figure that out. But I don't. You know what the funny thing is? I don't see Andrew Haynes asking me to say anything about Texas. I don't see Brian Rice talking about anything about Tennessee.
It's probably because they're sleeping right now, getting ready for a first pitch. That's probably why.
First pitch at about the pregame show should be starting at about a little less than 12 hours on their respective networks. By the way, listen to those on the Varsity Network as well. By the way, Eric, I'm going to ask you this question.
Sure.
If Tennessee wins the national championship, will you sing Rocky Top on the live stream?
Why do I need to do this?
Since you want,
I'm not the one with a goat mask. I don't have a goat mask.
Hey, don't put. If people are putting me in situations, you're going to be in the same situation.
Clearly, I was defending. I think I'm a fan. I think I picked up a lot of Tennessee fans today because I was defending them on the 7th.
So here's my thing. So okay. So in continuation of your defense of Tennessee fans, will you be willing to go on our live stream if Tennessee wins the national championship?
It's not happening. It's not happening.
You better be lucky. You better be lucky I don't have a sound effect booing you, sir, because that is just wow.
That would be like that. Come on, like I said, no. This is yours. It's all you, man. It's you.
But this is your podcast. You said it on Wednesday.
By the way,
on the
shout out to Seeing Scarlett, who's been doing her podcast from the World Series. So if you're a Texas Tech fan, I encourage you.
Hey, Eric, turn on your background noise. John Mayberry, thank you very much.
I don't have control over that. I don't have any control over that.
I mean, it's brain tortillas. Oh yeah, I forgot they like to throw tortillas at the football games. So I don't know how that will work maybe I have to move to a different area to throw tortillas.
So you got steaks. You got steaks in this game tomorrow night. Now we have one or the other.
I got steaks in the night game. Yeah, I appear with the Goat Master as soon as Sean. I had to buy some tortillas if Texas Tech advances to the Champ Series. It's gonna be fascinating. I will say, hey, all I have to say, Kevin Brown, Amanda Scarborough, Taylor McGregor, if y'all are somehow watching this and you bring this up on your broadcast tomorrow, one, I will absolutely faint. And two, y'all do not know what y'all talking about because what can I say?
This is I am speechless. So what are you predicting?
What are you predicting?
I really don't know. I was the one that picked Florida, so I'm the wrong guy to ask. Clearly. I mean, I'm still trying to get over.
Here's the problem. I picked on our D1 softball Women's College World Series preview. I picked Oklahoma and Texas Tech. So I know I'm going to get one of those wrong.
But you're going to get one of them right.
Well, what do you freaking do? 50%.
I'm just looking at it from a half glass full for you. I'm looking at it as a positive.
Yeah, thank you. I'm still rolling with Oklahoma. I'm still going with Oklahoma. They're gonna find a way to pull off two, and gonna get a chance to play for the 5th straight national championship. By the way, if they do pull off the double, they'll be playing in their 6th consecutive championship series, dating back to 2019 when they lost to UCLA.
It's pretty
Keep
good.
that in mind as well.
And then who would they play? Who would
Texas, third time in 5 years, OU Texas. I think Texas pitches Kavon. Kavon picks up where she left off at an emotional performance on Saturday. She shuts down Tennessee, and Texas takes care of Tennessee. They get the rest of the day off, and they see Oklahoma win twice. OU Texas Champ Series once again, starting Wednesday night.
That'll be the third time in 4 years. They played in 22, played last year, so that'd be good. I am going to stick with Texas. I'd have to show me something on Saturday against Oklahoma. I'm going to go with Texas. I'm going to stick with Texas Tech. Am I confident about it? No, but I'm going to stick with him. You know, she is my friend, Naija Kennedy. Has pitched very well.
Your friend, Naija Kennedy.
My friend, the WWE champion, by the way.
Yes.
I'm going to say they find a way to win at least one game tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to game 7 or who knows. I'm just going to pick her. How about this? All right. Just to make you happy. Since you have stakes, here's my stakes. If Oklahoma comes back, beats Texas Tech twice, I will be replaced on the Championship Series live show here.
Whoa. Hold on. Wait. Excuse me? What'd you say?
I will not be on the Championship Series live show if Oklahoma wins both tomorrow.
So time out. So ladies and gentlemen,
I'm banning myself from the show. I'm banning myself.
So let me get this straight. If Oklahoma pulls the double dip and they win twice tomorrow, and they make it to the Champ Series for a 6th straight time, I'm running the live show after dark by myself and friends starting Wednesday.
Keyword friends. There's
Did I hear that correctly, sir?
Yes. There's rumor. In fact, one of your friends might be a certain one of the friends might be a certain All-American that, quite frankly, might do a better job than me in this chair anyway. So that's just. But yes, I will go. I will make. There you go. If OU wins both tomorrow, I will be banned from the Champ Series show. Vic. There you go. You wanted stakes? You've got your stakes. How you feel?
Sooner fans, I want y'all to take this clip. I want y'all to send this to Chris Plank, and I want y'all to let him know what is on the line besides going for your 5th straight national championship.
Well, we got a lot on the line now. If Oklahoma wins, you're going to be on Sean's stream and you're going to be wearing the goat mask. I will not be on the Champ Series show. I mean, this might be the biggest semifinal in the history of the World Series. You're welcome. You're welcome.
It's big. And I mean, considering that there's no NHL playoffs going on, no NBA tomorrow night.
It's true.
Raw's on Netflix, as you referenced. The sport has to stay to itself.
They will for the next couple of for Monday and Wednesday. Well, no, Stanley Cup final actually starts Wednesday.
Yes. So that means, ladies and gentlemen, I will be wearing my Florida Panther jersey as they go for their back-to-back Stanley Cups against the Edmonton Oilers during our Champ Series wrap-up show. Details coming up tomorrow. Will it include Eric Lopez? We'll find out about 9:30.
I mean, they might do it. I'm not suggesting they may do it. Like, I really don't know. I mean, I am fascinated to see those two teams play. So I don't know. But I think it's only fair. You have stakes, so you're right. I need to have stakes of my own. And listen, some would argue that's a good, stakes. I mean, you should be happy about this either way. I don't know. We'll see. You're gonna have a good lineup. Either way, we're gonna have a good lineup either way. My point is, folks, we will have a Championship Series show Wednesday night, right after the game.
Wednesday after each game of the Championship Series, as per our tradition, unlike any other, we are the originals. We are the ones that we have set the standard for recapping the Championship Series. After each game, we're going to do it once again. Will Eric Lopez be a part of that? Well, we will know tomorrow night. Again, ladies and gentlemen, for those who are just joining us late, Eric Lopez has laid down the gauntlet. If Texas Tech knocks out Oklahoma, he will be a part of our Championship Series wrap-up show. If Oklahoma pulls the double dip and goes to their 6th straight championship series, he is out. OWT out. And I'm hosting it by myself with some special co-hosts lined up for that as well. You have to find out tomorrow night on ESPN to see.
At least I'm getting a better. At least I would get a better send off. I'm getting a better send off than R-Truth did. I mean, what the?
Oh my goodness! Well, pour one out to R-Truth. Good Lord Almighty! Gets a title shot versus John Cena, and it's
Future Endeavored. Yeah,
Future Endeavored a week later.
Yeah. I'm being Future Endeavored for the rest of the week. I mean, this is good.
Well, at least you get to come back in the off season, but so such thing as an off season.
What is an off season? Yeah, what is it off season? Tell me. What is that? We will have a regular podcast the Monday after the Champ Series. We'll have
we're back to our regularly scheduled podcasting on Monday, June the 9th. So mark that date now. Monday, June the 9th, we're back to our regular podcasting. And yes, folks, there's been a lot of movement going on in the coaching carousel, a lot of movement in the transfer portal. That's why you need to go to d1softball.com. 20% off your annual subscription. Use promo code WCWS 2025 to take advantage of those sweet deals. And by the way, check out your bracket is doing on the D1 Softball Bracket Challenge, brought to you by Chinook City. Go to bracket-challenge.d1softball.com to see where your bracket is. Do you have your Final Four teams in place as we go into this Monday afternoon / evening? Mr. Lopez, we are approaching the witching hour, sir. No, we're not talking about Scott Hansen in the NFL Red Zone. Your final thoughts before we wrap up tonight's shoot.
I think we got some fascinating storylines that we've talked about in the semifinals. Think about the championship series potential. You could have Oklahoma, Texas, which you have highlighted, Victor, would be the 3rd time in 4 years in what is the best rivalry in the sport. We can agree on that right now.
Yeah.
You could have Texas Tech versus Texas in the champ series. Nyjah versus Kavan, a rematch of arguably one of the best regular season games of the year in Austin, Texas, when Texas Tech and Texas played an extra inning affair matchup in the state. You could have Texas Tech versus Tennessee, which would be Pickens versus Kennedy in a best of 3. Not to mention Texas Tech's former head coach, Craig Snyder, going against Texas Tech. He's now, remember, Craig Snyder started all this. Craig Snyder was the head coach at Texas Tech. They missed the tournament. He leaves to be the hitting coach at Tennessee. It opens up Texas Tech, which allows Jerry Glasgow to go to Texas Tech, and then we know
we all know what happened after that.
So that's a storyline in itself. Or you could have Oklahoma, Tennessee, which would be a rematch from the Thursday game with that finish. And then
walk-off home run.
A rematch of the 20th, and then it would be the second time they would play for the national championship in 2013 when the Sooners started this dynastic run that in the last decade by beating Tennessee. So there's some good stuff here, I think, either way, in this champ series, and hopefully the umpires stay out of it, or the rules experts.
We can only hope and pray. We can only hope and pray.
Check out D1 Softball for all the latest. We will have a championship series preview show on Tuesday
night. Time to be determined. Follow D1 Softball.
I will still be a part of that show. My ban would not kick in until.
We'll be for this.
Just so everybody's clear.
Although knowing some of the people at D1 Softball, if they watch this show and they hear about that ban, they may start at 24 hours early, sir. So
I mean, that's up to them.
Just saying. By the way, if you want to get started on StreamYard and doing what Eric and I on D1 Softball are doing, we put a referral link in the chat. Click on that link below. You get a 10% discount on your StreamYard journey and get started with us. We are looking forward to seeing what's going to happen. And again, go to our In the Circle SB Twitter /X page. We have a poll up. Which team will get the double play and go to the champ series? Right now, it's Oklahoma leading, and then neither coming in second. So you got time to vote. Polling will be closing at about 3 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. That's gonna be That's gonna be we're gonna have some fun softball to watch tomorrow, sir.
Ivy, Ask Chris Beard if Texas Tech's not rivals. It's got it's a little chippy over there. Those two schools.
Little spicy
there. Thanks again to Shannon Saile for joining us, offer her analysis. Thanks for Justin McLeod, who's obviously on top of the whole stuff going on there. I hope everybody. I hope this was productive. Was this productive? I thought you did. It was a fun show. No, I thought
it was a fun show. It was got a little tense there between you and Justin. We arguing the rules, and I was just over here sipping on my.
How nice did it feel not to be a part?
Beautiful.
Nice.
And then we yelled at me that one time to stop playing those drops, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I was trying to inject some humor. By the way, this show has unofficially been brought to you by Buc-ee's. The Buc-ee's coffee has served me well for tonight, and we will be refreshing this and getting it ready for the Champ Series post-game show Wednesday, Thursday, and there's a game 3 on Friday. Will Eric be joining me? Who will be joining us? Will you be joining us? All those questions to be answered tomorrow. But Mr. Lopez, your official prediction is Texas Tech in Texas.
I'm just going to stick with it. Do I feel great about my picks? No, I don't. I have no confidence in my picks right now. I have about as much confidence in my picks as I have confidence in the umpire.
Wow. I'm going Oklahoma.
I admit it. You've been very confident. Yeah, you're a lot. So I'm just going to defer. I take the L. Were you? I mean, because I was bummed out. I was just shocked by Florida's performance. Stunned.
She's scrolling up the top row. Texas is more concerned with UTSA.
Which reminder, check out D1 Baseball for all the coverage on the baseball tournament. Holy mackerel, is that tournament gone upside down? The top 2 national seeds are already gone out of the regional.
Yes, by the way, the first time ever, the number 1 national seeds in baseball and softball failed to make the regionals and failed to make the super regionals in the same season.
Typical. We started the trend. Baseball followed. There you go. Vanderbilt 1 seed gone. Yeah, gone.
Now we can follow what baseball's doing in their selection show. Then that'd be an entirely different story altogether.
They did a good. Yeah, the baseball they did a pretty good job.
Hey, by the way, I might have something on my socials about that later on in the week. But Mr. Lopez, we've yapped long enough, sir. I think it's time for us to go to bed.
All right, thanks for everybody tuning in, and we hope we helped out. Productive. Have fun. Enjoy Monday's games. We'll have a D1 softball. Check out the stream on D1 softball Tuesday for the championship series preview show. Yep. We'll have guests and all that, and then Wednesday night we'll have a champ series as we've done since 2021. Does that sound right?
Okay. Did we do one in 19?
We might have done one since 19. All right, 2019 it is. Yes, right. You were there.
This will be our sixth Women's College World Series that we've done a champ series post-game show after each game of the championship series. So, hey, you know who to go to. We will have guests. We will have analysis. We will have recaps. We'll have Eric Lopez. We will find out.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I really do. I seriously appreciate you all, and thanks for talking some, tolerating us, and hope that we've made your evening fun. Should be a fun Final Four at the World Series. Follow D1 Softball for all the coverage there. Until then, for Victor Anderson, I'm Eric Lopez. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of In the Circle.
Top podcast is out. Good night, Canada.